TYT Sports bringing in Fox Sports' Drea Avent. Drea, how are you today?
Nice, I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Thanks
too.
for having me.
Thank you for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Cool.
Drea, of course, out of Long Beach State University, the 49ers. 10-0 in the conference.
Yes. Big West representing.
I do my research. They're playing Pacific tonight, who are...
Nice. Yes, they're always a pretty good team, but Fullerton is our main rival. Big West, yeah, Cal State Fullerton.
Okay, we'll be sure to look for that on ESPN.
Yes,
possibly,
well,
of course.
ESPNU probably.
So you got your start in Texas, doing sports broadcasting.
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit about that and the important parts of shooting, editing, and producing your own stuff there?
Yeah, well, I started, when I graduated from Long Beach State, I started sending out resume DVDs, and I got hired at a station called News 24 Houston, where I had to shoot my own stuff, I had to edit, I had to produce, I had to basically do everything. So I worked there for a year, and it was a good experience, but then the station shut down. It was like an upstart station. They didn't have a whole lot of money in advertising, so they just came in one day and said, "We thank you guys for the effort, but we're shutting down, we're done." So I was disappointed, but at the time I was just out of college, so I knew that I still was gonna keep trying and this wasn't the end of my road. So after that, I then went to Fox in San Antonio, yes, and I was there for 3 years, and there I did the same thing. I shot, I edited, I produced, I did everything. So it was a really great experience. I got to learn from the ground up, and I think that where I'm at now, that experience has really helped me because I've learned to appreciate all people in all different roles, because I had to lug a huge camera around. And I remember the Spurs would say to me, like, "Drea, how's your back? How are you doing?" Because I'm a tiny person and I'm lugging this huge camera and tripod in practice, and I'm setting it up and I'm checking my white balance and I'm doing everything. But I think that it made me a better broadcaster today because I had to go through all that and nothing has been handed to me. So if I had to do it all again, I would do it the same way. I wouldn't just walk in and end up at Fox NFL. I would have started the same way I started because I learned a lot, and I think that it builds a good foundation. It makes you a better reporter because you treat people better, and in turn that makes the broadcast better because everybody respects you. The audio people know that you've dealt with audio. The camera people know you've shot. Everybody knows that you've kind of done your own thing, blue collar, and they respect you more.
So there's that level of respect because they see that you've done that in your past.
Right. And I think a lot of the players, too, when I was in Texas, because it's always tough starting out, being a female, being taken seriously, it's always a challenge credibility-wise. And so I think that really helped them say, wow, she really wants this job. She really wants this because she's lugging a huge camera, especially in the summer in San Antonio. I mean, when it's 100 degrees and I'm out there shooting a high school football game and I'm like walking along as the chains move and I'm like carrying this big camera, and then later on I have to anchor highlights and go and try to look somewhat presentable, after shooting a game. I mean, it definitely took a lot out of me, but it was worth it.
So you had no cameraman to set up your post-game shots or anything like that?
No, the only time they would give me a cameraman was in the playoffs, when the Spurs would make the playoffs, because at that point, there's so many people in town, and there's no way that I can do like a one-man band with national media and so much going on. So then when I would cover the Cowboys and we'd drive to Dallas, I would get a cameraman most times. So those are the only really 2 times.
So take me back to San Antonio. I mean, it seemed like a great experience. However, it did not end as well as you may have liked. However, it was a blessing in disguise. Getting the pink slip in San Antonio. Can you tell me about that? Right.
Well, I left San Antonio in 2009. It was March in 2009, and basically that was when the economy was really bad. And there were already 4 of us doing sports, which is rare for a regular news station, not a sports network, but a regular news station to have 4 sports reporters. At that point, it just became too much for them to keep all 4 of us. So because I was the number 4, they decided to let me go.
And it seems like stations have 3 now, at the most.
At the most, it's 3. So even coming in, and I had been there for 3 years, I was still, a rare person, being the 4th out of, 4 people, because usually, like you said, there's either 2 or 3, just for budget constraints. And if it's not a sports network, why do you need 4 people? But because I was shooting and I was producing and I was doing so many jobs, I think that made me valuable for that duration, but then they let me go. And it was a blessing in disguise because I was trying to get a better job. I was sending out DVDs. I was really trying to get a job because I felt like I had done all I could do there. And I always wanted to be at the national level, and I always wanted to do sports on a bigger stage. So I looked at it as a blessing in disguise. Like, okay, well, they're letting me go. I'm not quitting. I stayed with it until the wheels fell off. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm just going to go back to LA and I'm going to try to get a job there. And as soon as I came back to LA, which is where I'm from, I got hired at Fox Sports Net. And it just was a blessing in disguise. I mean, they saw my stuff and they scooped me up right away. They said, we definitely want to hire you. You have so much talent and we think you're going to be huge and we're going to bring you in right away. So it was a blessing in disguise because if I had still been in San Antonio, I don't know how long I would have stayed there. And although I love San Antonio and I got so much love from the viewers there and the players and everything, I just knew I needed to move on at that point.
So you got hired by Fox. Before we get to that and how maybe they pursued you pursued that.
Yeah.
A lot of people that might be watching this interview will be thinking, you know, I'm in that tough spot right now, in between an internship and a job or a job and a job. How tough was that, and how did you get through that, per se?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I mean, I knew that I was still going to keep going, just like after the Houston job situation, they shut that down. I knew I was still going to keep going. I went to San Antonio, and then after that situation ended, it's all about staying positive. And I just found out who was in charge at Fox, and I sent them stuff, and I went down there. And
was that through a contact?
Yeah, well, you have to call and verify. I mean, you can't just Google and then just say, oh, it's this person. I mean, you have to like call and say, hey, is this person still there? And so that's actually what I did. And then I went down there, and then a lot of the big executives at Fox have really stood behind me, like the president and other people that are really high up. And so I'm just blessed that they believed in me and they knew how hard I worked in San Antonio, and they hired me. But yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's so competitive and so many people want to get work that I just stayed persistent. And it's one of those things where I just have tunnel vision. Like when I want something, I just go after it, and I'm just very diligent and persistent about it. And that's how you have to be. And you just have to have thick skin, because not everybody's going to respond to you, and not everybody's going to get back to you, and not everybody's going to necessarily like you. But all you need is one.
All you need is the president.
Yeah, exactly. All you need is one person to believe in you, and that goes for someone that's watching this that's just starting out, that's sending to small markets. I mean, you may hear a lot of no's, but then you may get a call from that one news director in Battle Creek, Michigan, and you're in. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's as simple as that, and all you need is one person to believe in you, and then from there, you can just take it from there. But the key is just determination and not giving up, because there are people that started out with me that just gave up. They're like, well, no one's calling me, so I'm just going to throw in the towel. And I've never been like that. I've always been good. No matter what it takes, I'm going to do it. And that's just always been my mentality. So that's just the Drea way. So
live by the Drea way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not everything, but just as far as my work ethic, I mean, I really have a lot of pride in that. And I think I showed that by lifting a heavy camera and doing all that stuff that I did. I think I showed that I'm more than just a mic holder.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously determination, as you said, and persistence and having thick skin.
Yes.
Was it tough being a woman pursuing this certain industry, and were there a few tough times that you had to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, there's always tough times being a female in sports, because people want to see if you're more than a face. People want to see if you really know what you're talking about. So everything you do is under a huge microscope. You just really can't make mistakes. So there's a lot of stress that comes with that. But luckily for me, I love that stress. I
thrive off of it?
I thrive off of the stress of that kind of stuff, and I look forward to that, and I look forward to people saying, oh, what does she know? And then at the end, they're like, dang, like she dropped more stats than me. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I live for, and that's the kind of stuff that you have to have that fire inside you to be a female in sports. Because even though there's a lot of them now, there's a lot of us out there. I mean, 10 years ago, there weren't as many, and now it just seems like, wow, there's so many. You turn on a game, and on the sideline, it's 90%, it's a woman. Like, it's rarely a guy anymore. But still, I still feel that same pressure, and I still treat it the same way. Like, I don't get lazy just because, there's a lot of women out there now. I still, like, every game I go to, every preparation, I'm very, meticulous about my preparation. When I cover NFL, I'm in my hotel room the night before with a bunch of notes. I mean, and I don't talk to anyone. I turn my phone off. I don't even talk. And I'm really close to my dad, but I don't even accept texts from my dad the night before a game.
So he's learned.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. He doesn't still really understand why, but he's like, cool, I'll just wait till Sunday night and then I'll talk to her then. But I just take it really seriously because of the stereotypes that are out there, and because I feel like I'm in this for the right reasons. Like, I didn't want to be an entertainment reporter. I don't want to be a news reporter. I don't want to be weather. I always just wanted to be sports.
Right.
And I always told my mom, if I can't do sports, I'll get a regular job. I'll go work at the bank. I'll go work at Whole Foods Market. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not that there's anything wrong with
nothing wrong with that at all. But I'm just saying, like, there's nothing about this industry that I liked except for sports. Like, I didn't have any other desire to be on TV unless it's sports. I'm not one of those people that's like, yes. Like, if, you know, I mean, if I can't do sports, then I'm out. Like, this is.
What about sports radio? Did you ever consider doing that?
You know, I love sports radio. I never really took that avenue, but when I was in Texas and even since I've been out here, I love being a guest on sports radio, and I think sports radio is good for like staying on the pulse of what's going on, what opinions are, and stuff like that. So I love sports radio, and I'm not opposed to that. It just hasn't come my way, but I think sports radio is awesome.
Now, through those tough times, did you have any people who, mentors that is, that really pushed you into, you know, getting over that hump or not paying attention to those critics? Were there any of those people in your life? Yeah,
I mean, a lot of them work for ESPN. I mean, Mike Hill, who is an anchor for ESPN, is a good friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for 6 years.
Hosts ESPN Radio.
Right, hosts ESPN Radio. Stephen A. Smith is like my big brother. I've known him, again, for 6 years since I started, and he's just been very vital as far as making me know, hey, you gotta have thick skin, Drea. Like, when this happens, I mean, a lot of times when stuff would happen, I'd call him and he'd be like, just relax. He's like, you think that's bad? This person said this to me, you know? So he's been very instrumental.
Puts everything in perspective.
Yeah, and just been a good friend and just helping me through. I mean, because, you know, dating is not always easy when you're on TV and you're around athletes all the time. And, you know, it's hard for some guys to really, you know, trust you. And he would give me a lot of advice on that and just being strong and knowing that when the time's right, the right guy will respect what I do. So I appreciate his thoughts on all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And Drea Avent, who also writes for ESPN, has been a good friend of mine too for 5 years, and he's been real instrumental on just helping me stay positive. And like when I was let go from San Antonio, he was like, Drea, this is a blessing in disguise, you know. And people like that you look up to that are already successful and are at the place that you want to be, it's good to have people like that in your life as you're on your, you know, journey and stuff like that. So I'm really grateful to those three. And with Fox NFL Sunday, I would have to say Chris Myers is another mentor to me. I mean, I worked with him for several games, and he would always give me really good advice. And
What's the best piece of advice he gave you?
Probably just, he knows that I'm a really big workaholic, and he said, Drea, sometimes just stop and enjoy the journey. Because I'm one of those people that's like, okay, when's the next game? When's the next stat? Like, what do I need to know? And he's like, hey, you did a good job. Just relax, you know, like, you know, let's go out to dinner with our crew. And, you know, and I'm already ready for the next game. I'm like, okay, where are they sending us next week? Because I'm just so, like, sometimes I'm like a robot. I'm dialed in, and I want to make sure I do a good job. And I think he just said, you know what, you'll enjoy it even more if you just take it all in. And we're in Minnesota. We cover the Vikings. You did a great job. Now we're going to go eat. This is how it goes. So his laid back kind of persona really rubbed off on me.
And it seems like it helps you then, because if you're you know, you're up here and you're trying to get every single thing, and you just kind of let it flow a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll even wake up and I'll think of plays, and I'll be like, okay, I remember like when Rex Grossman dropped back, like.
Don't bring up Rex Grossman.
Well, I mean, I'm just giving him as an example. I covered the Skins a couple times, so I'll just think of things and be like, okay, you know, because I love this job so much, and I just love what I do. So I think sometimes I'm like an over perfectionist, and I think that's
which is good.
Yeah, I think that's what Chris was saying. It's just like, hey, you know, because his demeanor is very easygoing. He's very laid back, and that's just all a part of who he is and why he's so good at his job. So I'm grateful to him as well.
And he's very dynamic too. He covers a ton of stuff.
Yeah, he covers NASCAR. He does a lot of stuff, and he's one of the big people at Fox that, you know, has his hands in so many different pots. So I really admire him, and I hope I get to work with him again next year.
How important is that? I mean, we talked about, you know, shooting your own stuff and producing your own stuff, but knowing all these other things, whether it is writing about sports, covering NASCAR, along with not just the 3 major sports in America, isn't that important as well?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's very, very important to know all sports. And I think that's the biggest thing that I tell people that ask me, like girls that are coming up or whatever. I say, make sure you know all sports, because some of us were raised on just maybe basketball or football or whatever, but you should know soccer, you should know hockey, boxing, NASCAR, everything, you know, because it makes you more of an asset when you know more, and you can go work for this team, you can go do this. I mean, like soccer, I feel like that makes that has really added a lot to my career because not a lot of people know about soccer and there's not a lot of women of color. Actually, I think I'm the only one, to be honest with you, that's covering soccer right now. So it puts me in a good position to really stand out, and it's because I know the sport inside and out and they trust me to be out there. And so I think stuff like that really helps you stand out, because in a business of so many people, you have to think, okay, how am I going to separate myself from all these other people that are out there? Because that's what it's all about. It's about trying to just separate yourself, make a name for yourself, and show that you're good, because there's so many other people that are on, you know?
Well, you're also very versatile. I mean, you've covered a lot of sports for Fox. You told me that you would love to do like the primetime game on Sundays with Fox.
Yes.
What is it like during the halftime, like running to the locker room, back from the locker room? Could you tell me about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's an adrenaline rush, you know, and I love it. I mean, I get off on just like, okay, knowing that I don't have that much time to get my sound bites and get over there. And luckily, I mean, I know football so well that a lot of my questions to coaches, I mean, there's some people that'll be like, hey, coach, what's the key to the second half? With me, I'm like, hey, you guys were running the play action pass. Like, I get detailed in it, and so it makes it just that much more fun to just get that deep with coaches, and they fire back at me, and then before you know it, you're standing there and they're like, let's go to Drea Avent. And I'm like, thanks, guys. I spoke to Coach Shanahan, and, you know, so you just got to roll with it. But it's an adrenaline rush because you don't have that much time to prepare. And that's about live TV. I mean, you just got to be ready to go. You can't just stand there and rehearse. Like, when they come to you, you just got to go. I mean, you don't have all day to sit there and go through it. It's just, you just got to talk. And the best thing about being live to me is that I can just be myself. Because I'm one of those people that I'm just me. The person you see here is the person you see on. And that's the best thing about being live, is it really captures who that person really is, because that's it, you're live.
It's a skill.
It's a developed skill, you know. And I'm still, I mean, I feel I'm at a solid point, but I'm a perfectionist and I'm always watching my stuff, trying to get better. So I'm one of those people I'm never satisfied. Like, I never feel like, I'm always trying to get better. And
It sounds like you're being a little hard on yourself.
No, I mean, I critique everything. Well, I just critique everything just because I take this stuff very seriously, and I know how blessed I am, and I know I've worked hard to get here, but I know how hard it is to get these jobs. So it's one of those things where I just don't want to ever settle or just get complacent, because it's like, I just want to make sure I stay in the mix, you know?
Yeah. While doing this.
Yeah, that's my way of saying in the mix.
Last question for you, and this could even go to me as well, trying to gain knowledge from you. What is the best piece of advice you could give a young professional trying to make it in this world? Could it be networking? Could it be something else? What would you say it is? Yeah,
well, first of all, Rick, you're very professional, and I think you come across as yourself, and that's the first thing I would tell someone, is just be yourself. Don't try to sit there and be like, well, hello, we're here, and if that's not how you talk, you know what I'm saying? Like, just be yourself, and I think you've done that in a very professional way. Thank you. I think that's the first thing, is really center yourself, be yourself. Second thing is networking. Unfortunately, when I got into the business, I didn't know anyone. I had to just send out reels the old school blue collar way. But
with the VHS tapes?
No, I was sending DVDs.
Oh, isn't that totally old school?
Exactly. Well, I'm saying, like, I wasn't just placed somewhere. I mean, there's some people that know someone, and I know a couple of women that were like a receptionist at a sports station, and then they were just thrown on, and there you go. But for me, I've just always had to do it the hard way. I remember going to the post office, and every week I'd take reels, and they'd be like, well, you're back. They were kind of making fun of me, like, you've already sent out 30 and you're back again. But it's like, whatever it took, I was going to do it. And I think determination is key for people starting out, because it's hard, you know, to start out, and not everybody's going to like your reel. And it's not always personal. Sometimes they're looking for a guy. Sometimes they're looking for a blonde, and you're not blonde. You know, it's just, you just have to go with it and know that, again, like I said before, all it takes is one. All it takes is one person to like you, but that determination is key. And keep working on your craft, you know, just never get like satisfied, always, you know.
Let me ask you one more thing that I just thought about, because you said you sent a tape like maybe 30 times, or maybe you were emphasizing.
To different places. I'm not a stalker.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, I would send to like different markets, and if I didn't hear anything, I would just go back on the internet and look. There's different websites like tvjobs.com and different things where you can look. And so I'd go every Monday, check it out, get my names together, make some copies, and then Monday afternoon, post office.
Well, let me ask you this. How often would you follow up with them if either they didn't respond to you or they responded very shortly to you?
It depends. Some I kind of would just let it go. And then others, I would reply and just
depending how bad you wanted that one?
Yeah, like depending on the market size and depending on what the job, because there was a couple that I sent to, it was like part-time sports, part-time news, and some of those I didn't even want because I don't like news, I just like sports. But I still sent just because you never know. I mean, it could be my big break. And so if I didn't hear from them, I just kind of let it go. But a couple of places I really wanted to go, I would either email or call, and sometimes they just, or they'd send you a Dear John letter like, hey, thanks for trying, but we went in a different direction. Other times they'd say, hey, I like you, but we're looking for somebody that's a little bit more serious or somebody that doesn't have as much personality. I mean, you don't know who's seeing it and what they're looking for. And that's why you just have to send a bunch out, because eventually it's going to hit with someone. Right. And it's like when I got hired in Texas both times, they were like, you're exactly what we're looking for. You're different. There's nobody like you in this market. You know what you're talking about. So I was the right fit for that market, but maybe someone else wouldn't be. So you just don't know. You just send them out.
So you never considered doing like either, okay, I'll do news if I can do sports. I'll do marketing. I'll sell some stuff if I can do sports.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I never wanted to do that. And there's people I know that did that, and nothing against them. But for me, I just only wanted to do sports. And if I can't do it, then I'm just going to go and work at the bank.
It sounds like you lucked out then.
I did, but I was determined too. It's a little bit of both. I mean, it's my dad always says luck occurs when opportunity meets preparation. So when you're ready and that opportunity comes, that's when you go in and, you can make it happen. But it's definitely a tough business, and that's why I just work so hard and I treat everything the same. I mean, I know football is the #1 sport in America, but I'm doing soccer now, and I treat that just as, I love it, and I treat it just as high as I would treat football. Or even if I was doing minor league teams, I would treat that the same. I think the key is treating it the same. And it's another thing Chris Myers would always say, because some of our games, we'd have a lot of viewers, and then other games, like, it was only to, 10% of the country. And he'd say, well, we still got to do a good job, no matter if we're seen by 40%, 50%, 10%. And that's the thing. No matter what you do, I would say you treat it with the same level of respect.
Doesn't matter who the team is.
Doesn't matter who the team is.
You always got to bring it. Plus, it's the NFL.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's
exactly.
It could be the Rams and the Seahawks. It's still an NFL game.
I actually did cover that game. But I mean, it doesn't matter, especially NFL. I mean, it was the biggest contract of my career, and I was just blessed to be there, and I look forward to next season.
Well, Drea, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Rick.
I know that I've learned a ton. I hope everyone else has learned a ton.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you again. Follow her on Twitter at Drea Avent.
If you want to, I mean.
If you want to, I mean, it's totally fine. She's great about responding to people. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you too.
All right. We got to make up a secret handshake.
Okay, what is it?
Let's do 1, 2.
Wait.
Okay, 1, 2, and then back. And then pound again. There you go.
And then explode.
And then explode.
All right, awesome.
Rick and Drea in the building.
We'll cut that part out.
Yeah.
Okay.